Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and once again I'm out here in my hot garage coming to you with another Garage Gun Talk. Now, I guess this is going to be the first video on the channel where I have to kind of do a disclaimer in the beginning. My channel here is getting, I guess, big enough that enough people are finding this channel on their own without finding my main channel first and then moving over here. Or people are telling other people, go check out the Texas Gun Vault, and this is the channel that they find. If you're watching this channel for the very first time, please know this is the Texas Gun Vault 2. It's my behind-the-scenes casual channel for my, I guess what I'll say is, biggest fans, or as I jokingly call them, vault dwellers, where we can just talk about the guns that I'm reviewing, talk about anything in a very casual and informal way that I normally won't make a video on my main channel. And if you want to check out my main channel, which is a completely different style than this, please go to the description of this video and you should be able to find it. There's a link to it there, and I think up in the banner of my main channel there's like extra links, and you can go find it there as well. So check out the main Texas Gun Vault. All right, so I went to the range today, and as always, I want to give you guys my initial thoughts and impressions about the guns that I shoot. I did take 3 guns to the range today, but unfortunately, I only got to 2. There were some people there that were shooting, and of course, you know, people talk to you, and then of course, I have to kind of wait sometimes for people to stop talking so loud or whatever so I can get the best footage possible, and then just kind of time ran out, and I didn't get to the 3rd gun, which is a really, really special gun. So I'm probably going to go back to the range probably tomorrow night, because my range is closed on Mondays, but I have 24-hour biometric access, and the review is going to be on an integrally suppressed Ruger 1022. So I need to make sure that all the stars have aligned to make this review happen, because obviously it's an NFA item. And I also need to be in a more quiet environment because I would like to show it off between being suppressed and unsuppressed. So that's what I have to do. So it's probably best that I don't review this when other people are at the range anyway. But I did take 2 pistols to the range, and I wanted to talk about them. And they're 2 pistols that I recently showed you guys in my upcoming projects videos. The first one that I shot today is my friend Richard's Beretta Centurion, and this was a really interesting pistol. I learned a lot about it. There are some things that are very familiar about it to me, and there's a couple things that I don't like. Now, I will say that when it comes to compact Berettas, they're one of the best guns that I shoot. There's just something about the Beretta 92 that is a naturally shooting firearm for me. No, I do not shoot these if you're talking about accuracy as well as, let's say, a 2011 pistol, okay? Like the Staccato XL I recently reviewed. I mean, I'm getting groups like this. But for me, this is a carry gun, it's a home defense gun, it's a range gun, it's a practical gun, and I get exceptionally good accuracy from it. And that's why one of my guns in my carry rotation is a Beretta 92 Compact Inox. I love that gun. I love that gun. And this one, for me, shoots very similar. The only difference is we do have the full-size frame. And, of course, we have a different placement of the safety lever. Actually, sorry, this is a decocker only. This is a G-type. And I want to say this is, I got to look this up and before I do the video on it. And I know Richard told me, and somebody asked me in the video when I showed this off. They said, is that the G... TS, I think it's TS for twin sear or DS double sear. Anyway, it's the one that allows the, I guess there's 2 sear mechanisms in here, and it's why they're able to move the decocker lever from the slide to the frame. And the answer is yes, it's a decocker only. It's a G type, not an F type. So I shot this gun really well. As I said, not as accurate as a 2011, but comparatively to other pistols that I usually shoot and review, it shoots great. There's something about the Beretta 92 series of pistols that I just shoot well. Always have shot well. I've always felt that these recoiled very nice because it has that dropping block versus the Browning tilting action. that they borrowed from the Walther, was it the P38? I've always felt it's a very smooth recoiling gun. The trigger in it for me is not great, but it does what it's supposed to do for me really well. So it's one of those guns that I say that I like, but I don't love, but I shoot it really well. Okay? Does that make any sense? It's not a gun that I go, oh, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's the perfect gun for me, but the results just don't lie. And so this gun shot just like my personal Beretta Compact. It just has that longer frame, which I do like. Obviously, I get a better grip on this gun. Now, an issue that I do have with this is the placement of the safety lever. Now, in my opinion, it's going to be one of those things where it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I think that Beretta moved the safety on this, or the decocker on this, to the frame in response to what American shooters think they want, and also the Taurus, what they call it, the PT92 or something like that. Because everyone thinks, oh, that's just it's just the way it should be. I don't like having it on the slide because, and I understand too, because when the military uses it, you grab the slide, you pull it back. If it slips, you hit that safety lever, the decocker lever, especially if it's an F-type with a safety, you can accidentally engage the safety. And then the gun is, if you're not aware of that, the gun is now out of commission until you flip back off the safety. So I get that. And they also say it makes your purchase on the slide smaller, okay? Which I also agree with. I mean, having that safety lever or decocker lever up here is kind of annoying. It does get in the way sometimes. But when you have the lever like this on this frame, it actually does the same thing because this lever is huge. Take a look at this. You have this big portion up here, and I actually found that when I rack the slide, I don't get a good grip on this because I got all this, which, by the way, is on both sides of the pistol, like in the way. It kind of reminds me of a CZ75 in that you have very, very small or short cocking serrations. And even though you're not going to accidentally engage this safety, because the lever only goes up, not down, I actually find that I could, I guess, lose my grip on that slide. Now, I didn't have that happen at the range. But when I did show this pistol off here on the workbench a few nights ago, I racked the slide and it slipped. I was like, oh, I pinched my finger, and that's why. So it works. It's not bad for me. It's well, they moved it to fix the problem, but I still think you have the same problem. It's just on the other side of the slide now. It's down here instead of up here. So I don't think that they really fixed anything, if that makes any sense. I mean, they changed something, but for me, the problem is still there. And I think I still like the slide-mounted safety or decocker more than the frame. But this one's fine. It's fine. I also think aesthetically, when it's on the slide, it looks better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a traditionalist in that way. This gun also has an issue that I think all the Berettas have when they come from the factory, if you're running the factory sights, in that the front sight, which this one has a little fiber optic in the front, and of course we have a notch in the back. I find that when you see that fiber optic sight, that front sight through the rear sight, there is a big gap. You have the post, you have a big gap here and a big gap here between the wings of the rear sight. And you just have a lot of variance and a lot of play in there. And sometimes the windage is kind of awkward. I like it when the front sight pretty much fills up the gap completely. But as I said, it really didn't affect my accuracy all that much. This is a very, very accurate gun. Feels great in my hand, and I shot it really well. So I just kind of feel like my issues with it have nothing to do with its performance. It just has to do with some aesthetics. And of course, just the idea of changing the placement of that lever. And for me, it doesn't improve it, but it doesn't hurt it either. It just moves the problem to another place. Yeah, and the upgrades that were done on this by Richard are pretty much what I think most Beretta owners are going to do. He replaced some of the springs in this to the Langdon Tactical ones. So pretty much it's kind of like a Langdon Tactical version in that regard. So it's not like he put in some type of tricked out thing that you wouldn't or couldn't get on an OEM pistol. So I think he kind of lightened the hammer spring, and I think he changed the recoil spring on this. But it works good. Trigger's really nice. Double action's nice. Trigger's a little bit long. Reset's a little bit long. It's a Beretta 92 in that regard. I don't have any issues with the shorter slide on the full frame. It runs good, very accurate. I'm going to give this gun very, very high marks. But it's kind of what I expected from a Beretta 92. Yeah, they just work well. They just work really well for me. Even though they're not my favorite gun, they still work really well for me. So that's my thoughts on the Beretta. So let me get out the other gun. And this is one that I reviewed a long time ago, lost the video on, and my friend Jack number 1, lent to the channel again. Now this one, I should have asked him before I brought it home from when he lent it to the channel, because I only got 1 magazine for this review, okay? So I thought maybe 2 would come in the box, but I only got 1. Maybe it only comes with 1. A lot of times these 22 caliber pistols, they only come with 1 mag. But I only got 1 for this review. And my thoughts on this, and I don't have the original video to compare it to. So I'll just tell you what my thoughts are after taking it to the range. My first thing that I noticed about this that kind of slows me down, and that's a little bit weird, and I'm going to have to take out my personal Walther PPK, but it's in 380, not 22, and see if the magazine button is in the same place, because my gut tells me it's not. On this model, the magazine button is really high right up here next to the slide. And for me, when it comes to most pistols, I'm used to it being down here towards the bottom part of the trigger guard. So when I try to drop the magazine, there's no button there. I gotta put my thumb way higher, and it's kind of flush with the slide. So I actually have a hard time getting to that magazine release to drop the magazine. I don't remember that when I first reviewed it. It shoots really high for me, and I had to really practice keeping the sight down. Now, I don't know. I know these sights are interchangeable. They're just held in by a little roll pin. So I'll have to go back in the box and see if there's other ones in there. I mean, it grouped pretty good. It grouped good. It was just high, and I just had to be aware of that. The single action pull of this trigger is really good. Like, it's really, really good. A little bit long on the take-up, but overall it's fine. The thing that I don't remember is how heavy and long the double action is. So the discrepancy in the difference is gigantic. You know, a lot of times if a gun has a 10-pound double action pull, it's going to have like about 5-pound single action pull, 4.5. If it's an 8-pound double action, I kind of expect 3.5-pound pull on the single action side. But this, I would say the single action on this, in fact, we can measure this. In fact, let's measure this. I haven't done this. Let me get one of these little wall hangers out right here so I can safely load this gun and not worry about dry firing it. Okay, so it loaded like it was supposed to. So let me get out the trigger pull weight gauge here, which, by the way, thank you, Craig, as always, for your donation to the channel of this thing. I've been using it like in every single range report. All right, so let's find out. Let's do single action first here. All right, 3 pounds, 13.5 ounces, okay? Three pounds, 11.1 ounces, and we'll do one more. Three pounds, 12.6 ounces. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good for a single action trigger and a Walther PPK 22. Now let me show you the double action. So when I pull this back, in fact, the first time I did the double action test at the range, I didn't think the trigger was working right, because when I pulled this thing back, I was like, wait, is there some type of safety on? I mean, it is really I don't even think it's going to register on this scale. So let's see here. Let's clear this. I guarantee you it's going to go over the scale. Wait, let me clear this again. All right, here we go. And we're over. Yeah, it reached 11 pounds, 13.9 ounces, and as I was pulling it, it was saying over. Let's try this again. And yeah, it's not even gonna reach. It's simply just too heavy. In fact, it's and I don't want to damage this this gauge at all. No, it's not gonna work. So this thing's off the scale, and the double action pull on this is absolutely horrendous. I actually shot it okay double action, but man, that sucks. So I don't think I've ever had a gun that has a terrible double action. I mean, off the charts heavy, and then a pretty good single action trigger. I've never had that type of discrepancy before. But anyway, that's what I discovered about this. I wish I had more magazines for this. I did not shoot it as well. As I said, the groups... Actually, I think the problem is at all the distances shooting 22, I can't see the impacts on the target. So I have to wait till I bring the target in. All I could do is put the sights right on the center and kind of hope and pray. I really can't adjust in the middle of a magazine. I just go, okay, I'll be as consistent as I possibly can. But it's good. And another thing about the Walther that I like compared to other 22s is that the build quality of this, especially the metal that they make the slide out of, seems to be pretty good quality. One of the complaints I have a lot of times with the 22 caliber pistols, especially the ones made by Umarex, I feel like in order for them to lighten the slide so much so it will cycle with the 22 caliber projectile or 22 caliber long rifle cartridge, they have to almost use pot metal. And I don't mean actually pot metal. I just mean a very poor alloy of aluminum. It's kind of pitted. You can tell it's cast. It looks ugly. It looks unfinished. It's really light. It almost feels malleable. This doesn't feel that way. I really feel like the PPK in 22 is a pretty darn good quality firearm just as it sits, like the build quality, the materials that went into it. It feels good in my hand. It doesn't feel like a piece of junk. Some of those other Umarex ones, they feel like pieces of junk to me. So anyway, those were the two guns that I took to the range today. Oh yeah, another thing about the Walther that I don't like, there's no slide stop. But that's with every Walther PPK, so you gotta drop the magazine so the slide will go home. And yeah, I sure wish it had a slide stop. So I could drop the slide without having to remove the magazine. This one, I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to give it, I don't know for sure. It's probably going to be like a 3.5 star review. It's okay. It's okay. But I'm glad to review it because I know a lot of people like it. Not bad. And actually, I didn't really have any issues with ammunition or anything with it. I think once or twice I had a stovepipe, but that's a 22 long rifle. You know, what are you going to do about it? So anyway, that's what I got for you guys tonight. What do you guys think about my thoughts and opinions on that? And I'm curious what you guys think about the Walther's double action pull. Do you guys have a Walther PPK in 22 specifically? Because I know the one that I have, the 380, and there's my dog outside barking, doesn't have any issues with that. It has a heavy double action pull, but it's not like unmanageable. That's to me, it's like unacceptable. But then the single action pull is so freaking good. So anyway, that's what I got for you tonight, and I need a drink of water because because I am thirsty and I'm hot and I'm sweaty, and I need to get inside. And I got to put this stuff back in the safe so I can start organizing the range footage and writing the scripts for the range reports. And then, man, also, I'll tell you a little non-gun stuff. I'm feeling my age. Man, this next week I'll be teaching at like a summer music camp for kids. And today we went to the location where the camp is, and we got everything set up, went over the lesson plans, and it's kind of a church school location, and they had some like a basketball hoop up, and they had a basketball there. So some of us kind of played a little basketball when we got done with all of our work. And oh my God, I am 44 years old, and I feel it. Oh my gosh, my legs hurt. I can't believe it. I had a lot of fun, but man, it's been a while since I've done any type of cardio work like that. Getting old sucks. But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you watch to the end, what can the word of the day be? The word of the day is going to be... Boy, it's a hard one. Hard one. Let me think here. You know what? We're going to say water. Water. I know that's kind of weird. I always try to incorporate the word as maybe like one of the guns that I reviewed or something else that I talked about, but we're going to say water. So it's kind of a hard one to use if you're just replying to what I talked about in the video. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thank you as always for joining me here in the Hot Garage. So, as always, thanks for watching.